Okay guys, this is a very long overdue tutorial that I filmed almost a month ago, actually on Thanksgiving. So I'm going to call it like a late fall, early winter makeup tutorial. And the products that I'm using really coincide with what my skin and probably a lot of your skins need in the winter, which is more moisture. So I'm starting with a little skincare, and then I'm going to go right into the eyes, which gives the skincare some time to sink in. So I'm just priming my eyes like I always do, and then I'm going over that primer with an eyeshadow. This happens to be Orb, to set the primer and kind of provide a base on which to blend the rest of the colors. So this is a rather new color for me called Haux, H-A-U-X, and I'm going into the crease, and I noticed that that was kind of like a little stark to go in even with a fluffy brush over the Orb. So I'm going in now with a little bit of MAC Wedge, which is just like a shade, just a couple of shades darker than my skin tone, and I'm gonna buff that over what I've done just to kind of make everything really smooth. You won't necessarily see that color. It'll just make sort of like the landing really smooth and easy on the eyes. No pun intended. So then I'm going in with this color, which is called Yogurt. And I'm going to put this on the lid just to sort of brighten up the center of the eye, because I want my lids to look really big and I want this to be like a really flattering look. So I'm just carving out the eyelid with a little bit of Haux, and then just repeating my steps: Haux, Wedge, and then Yogurt. So what you're doing is you're like building on the natural shape and the natural architecture of your eye. You're just making it bigger and better, because that's kind of what we're trying to do with makeup, is just make our shapes, our eyes, whatever we're working with, just look the best they can. And then I'm going in with this purple color. First was the liner in Shadowy Lady, using liner as a shadow, and then this red color that I'm buffing in, just bump up that warmth. So it's like a little more red and a little more deep than the Haux, and it just adds that next level. So once I've got the shadow on, I really need to define the brows to see kind of where I'm going to go and how I'm going to finish this. So this is my Dior Show Brow Pencil, which I'm a huge fan of. In general, I've been going lighter on the brows because I've noticed in the past I've gone a little too heavy, and with my bone structure and the rest of my face, I realized in pictures this is really not the most flattering look. So just doing a little bit of brows and then kind of going back in with that Yogurt and just kind of like fluffing where I need to. Then curling my lashes, I didn't show that because most people know how to do that, and then tons of mascara, which most people know how to do, but I'm just kind of wiggling into the roots of the lashes and kind of just driving it out to the tips, but I want most of the volume and most of the product to be at the roots. So kind of fast forwarding through the rest, I'm going in with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in two colors. One is creme brulee and one is vanilla, and I mix those, and I'm using them pretty generously under my eyes, and then down the center of my nose, center of my forehead, around the mouth. So it brings a lot of light to the face, and those concealers have a lot of coverage, so they kind of double as a foundation. I'm mixing these two foundations, which is the Studio Sculpt and the Next to Nothing, because I kind of want the best of both worlds. I want the coverage, but I want the slip, and I'm going to use that. Really, I'm just placing the foundation where I didn't put the concealer, because usually it's a waste of time if you're going to put concealer on and then foundation on top. A, sometimes the products are not going to play well together and you end up with this weird kind of like consistency on your face. And B, you don't need to pile that much product on, especially if your concealer is got a lot of coverage. If it has a lot of coverage, you just kind of use the foundation where you don't use the concealer. You can do foundation and then concealer, or you can do concealer and then foundation, but I usually don't layer because I find that I'm just wiping one off when I put the second one on, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to do a little dusting of translucent powder just to set everything. And you can see my foundation, it's not like 100% coverage, but it makes my skin look better. So I'm going to go in with a little sculpting, because you'll find once you put the foundation on, sometimes your face looks a little flat and you want to go carve out those contours where you have them or where you want them. So I'm kind of doing under the cheekbone and right up into the hairline where I naturally have a little bit of chisel, which only gets deeper as you get older. So young ladies, do not worry. When you get older, you're going to look more like a skeleton, most likely. So for now, you can just use your sculpting powder. And I find, like, when I was in college and like in my 20s, I didn't know how to contour, but I could have really used it. Anyway, I've thrown a little bit of blush on there, something kind of similar to what we're working with on the eyes. I want it to kind of speak well. I will put the color in the description box, or you can message me with any questions, by the way. And then going back to the eyes, now that I've gotten the rest of the face done, I wanted a little more on the eyes. Now, I don't want like a thick line of liner. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this black liner by IT Cosmetics, and I was just kind of wiggling it between the lashes. And if you do it on the upper lash line, and then you blink, you're naturally going to transfer it. And it just gives your eyes a little more framework, and it just kind of defines them a little more. So that's really all I wanted to do there. And then if you get any choppiness, you can just blend it in as I did with a little bit of my skinny liner brush that had the shadowy lady left on it. So fast forwarding, don't really need to explain much. I've done my lipstick, I've done a little liner, and then I'm taking this MAC pigment in Vanilla. And it's such a beautiful pigment. It was a highlighter before highlighters were like such a big thing. And I just did a little highlighting, and I'm going to go do my hair. That's what I was trying to tell you. And that's the finished look, guys. I hope you like it, and please let me know if you have any comments in the boxes below. Thank you.